Hey everyone, this is your stimulus check update, third stimulus check update and stimulus package update for Monday, February 22nd. This video is for those of you on SSI, SSDI, or Social Security, or anyone else wondering about the third stimulus check and the latest on the stimulus package details. The House of Representatives is set to vote on the latest stimulus deal this week. In this video, I'm going to be going over the following details from the stimulus package that has been released. First off, who is eligible for the $1,400 stimulus check? Second, details about those claimed as dependents, both adult and child dependents. And third, the timeline for the third stimulus check, the $400 per week unemployment benefit, info for those of you that didn't get the first or second stimulus check, some information about some housing aid that is included in this stimulus proposal, and last I'm going to be talking about the $300 or $250 per month child tax credit that is part of this bill. Like I was saying, the House is set to vote on this stimulus deal this week. It does sound like it will probably go through the House of Representatives, but there could be some hangups in the Senate. But let's go over what the final details are of this bill as it stands now. First off, there are $1,400 stimulus checks. This much we know. Those stimulus checks are set to go out to those of you on SSI, SSDI, and Social Security, and for anyone else as long as they're below the income threshold. Now, the income threshold for this stimulus check is the same as the previous two stimulus checks, at least for the full amount. Individuals who make $75,000 per year or less are eligible for the full $1,400. Couples who make less than $150,000 per year are eligible for the full $2,800 as a couple. This also includes any child dependents, and they would receive $1,400. I will talk a little bit more about dependents later on in the video. But for those of you on SSI or SSDI or Social Security, you are eligible for this $1,400 stimulus check. Obviously, they still have to pass this proposal, but as of right now, it looks like it's going to make it through the House of Representatives. And it probably will make it through the Senate, but there are a few things that they are still deliberating on in the Senate, or they will be kind of discussing with regards to this stimulus deal. I continue to get a lot of questions about the $200 per month bonus for, or increase for Social Security and for SSI and for SSDI. As of right now, this is not part of the latest plan. Now, President Joe Biden talked about this $200 per month as an emergency just for a short period of time to be added to Social Security and SSI and SSDI. However, it is not part of the latest stimulus bill. And I know this is really disappointing for a lot of the people that watch my channel because they were really hoping that they could get that extra $200 per month, as I know many of you are struggling just to make ends meet and just barely to scrape by, to pay for your rent, to pay for your food, and to pay for your medical bills and any other utilities or anything else that you need to pay for. This $200 per month would have been a huge boost to many of you. However, it is not part of this stimulus plan, which is really unfortunate. So let's talk about dependents. First off, if you have children that are under the age of 17 and they live at home and they are dependents, they are eligible for $1,400 stimulus checks. If they are over the age of 17, whether they live at home or you're an adult dependent and your children claim you on their taxes or somebody else claims you on their taxes, you are eligible for your $1,400 stimulus check as well. That's different than the first and second stimulus checks. However, it does sound like the person that claims you, so let's say you're living with your child and your child claims you as a dependent, you're an adult dependent, your child will receive your $1,400 stimulus check. So it would be between you and them to figure out how to get it to you. But anyway, the $1,400 stimulus checks for adult dependents sound like they will be going to the person that claimed you on their taxes. For those of you that were claimed as a dependent in 2019, but were not claimed as a dependent in 2020, you are eligible for the first and second stimulus checks, but the person that claimed you on their taxes in 2019 will need to submit their taxes in 2020 and remove you as a dependent on their taxes. Then you will need to file taxes for the 2020 tax year, even if you're not normally required to file taxes, but you will need to file taxes so that you can claim the recovery rebate credit. Let's talk about the timeline for the third stimulus check. as I was saying, the House of Representatives is set to vote on the third stimulus check and the stimulus package as a whole this week. If the House passes it this week, and I'm expecting that they probably will pass it this week, then it will go to the Senate. However, it does sound like the Senate is not planning on voting on this stimulus package until the first part of March. If that's the case, and if they vote on it early in March, then most likely the third stimulus check would come as early as the end of March. That sounds like it's the soonest we're going to be getting this third stimulus check. If the Senate takes their time, which we know the leaders in Washington usually do, they usually take their time and drag these things out. If they do that, then we're probably not looking at the third stimulus check until April. So the timeline sounds like it's probably going to be end of March or first part of April for the third stimulus check and for all the rest of the benefits that are part of this stimulus package. For those of you that are wondering about the unemployment benefit, the unemployment benefit in this package is set to go up from $300 per week to $400 per week. And the previous unemployment benefit is set to expire the middle of March. If this deal is not done by the middle of March and is not signed by the middle of March, there may be a lapse of that federal unemployment benefit. If there isn't, and if there isn't a lapse, then you would start receiving your $400 per week as soon as this deal is done and as soon as they put a date on when that would switch over from the $300 per week to $400 per week unemployment benefit. For those of you that have not received your first or second stimulus check, and this goes for you, those of you that are eligible for the first or second stimulus check, made below the income limit and were not claimed as a dependent, you need to file taxes. You'll need to file taxes for the 2020 tax year, and that's even if you're not required to file taxes. But if you didn't get your first or second stimulus check at this point, you must file taxes to receive it. When you file taxes, you would claim a recovery rebate credit on your tax return, and then they would send you, as part of a tax return, they would send you your first and second stimulus checks that you were eligible for. One other thing in this stimulus bill that I think many of you on SSI, SSDI, and Social Security may be interested in is there is housing aid in this stimulus bill. There is $18.1 billion that is set aside to go to state and local governments to help people that are struggling paying rent or paying their utilities or other housing-related costs. In addition to this, there would be about $10 billion that would be used to help struggling homeowners pay their mortgages, utilities, and property tax. And it would also provide $5 billion to help state and local governments help those that are at risk at becoming homeless because of the pandemic. Once this deal is passed, there should be more details about how to apply for some of those rental assistance or helping to pay for back rent or pay for your mortgage or your utilities or your property taxes. I think there will be more details once this bill is finalized and actually passes. And so I will give you an update once I know some more information on that. But for those of you that are on SSI, SSDI, and Social Security, if you are struggling to pay rent or pay your mortgage, it does sound like that they are going to be giving some assistance in that regard in this stimulus bill. So for those of you wondering about the $300 per month child tax credit, that child tax credit is for those of you that have children under the age of 6. This would replace the $2,000 per year child tax credit that people receive when they file taxes. This $300 per month child tax credit is only for those of you that have children under the age of 6. Children that are over the age of 6 and still living at home and dependents, they would receive $250 per month, or a total of $3,000 per year, whereas the under 6 receive $3,600 per year. It does sound like there will be a portal that you can go in and submit your information on later on once this deal is finalized. So once we know more details about that, I will let you know in the future. But there will be a $300 per month child tax credit that is replacing the $2,000 per year child tax credit when people file their taxes. One more quick thing. If you have a child that was born in 2020, they are actually eligible to receive the dependent credits from the first and second stimulus checks. You would have to claim that when you are filing your taxes for the 2020 tax year. You'll have to add that you had a child in 2020, and that will be part of your tax filing, and you will receive the $600 from the first stimulus check and the money from the second stimulus check as well for that child dependent. Thank you once again for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you again soon.